Gentlemen, greetings from beautiful North Carolina, the woods of North Carolina. I'm in South Durham, and I'm right off the Third Fork Trail. It's a hiking, biking trail. It's a great spot. And my name is Windblown Jim Hambrick. It's hot and humid, let me tell you. Oh man, it's a killer. Anyway, today for Video Tuesday, I wanted to do something a little bit different. I'm going to take you back in time. I'm going to take you back to October of 2016. And I'm going to tell you a story that you might be interested in because it involves cars, construction, bulldozers, and an almost tragedy. But I'm going to start off by showing you my house. This was the house that we lived in for many, many, many years. And this is the house that we raised our children in. We had a boy and a girl, and they're now successful adults. But this is where we lived. And unbeknownst to us, we had no idea that this house had a secret. Beautiful October day. I'm going to think around October 3rd or 4th. And Marie and I had gone out to the state park for a picnic. And we loved hanging out in the state park. It was only about 10 minutes from our house. It was a wonderful place. We came home, pulled into the garage, and we were going to transfer some things from my car to her car. But then we said, it's such a pretty day. Let's go sit on the screened-in porch and just relax, have a cup of tea, and enjoy the rest of the afternoon. We did, and we were sitting on the porch, and not 5 minutes later, we heard an explosion of sorts. We jumped up, ran out the front door of the house, and out into the driveway, turned around and looked, and my garage floor had collapsed. 2 cars, and unbeknownst to us, this is the mystery, underneath our garage was a 12-foot pit. All of those years that we lived there, and we never knew what was there. So we were staring in unbelief. We just couldn't believe it, and we didn't know what to do. So I called 911, and the police came, the fire department came, the borough inspector came, the entire neighborhood came, and half of the town came. Now, I'm going to back up a few minutes. I had just recently gone into full retirement. Yeah, that's right. And we were selling this house. We were selling the home, and so that we could move to Arizona and North Carolina, so we could split our time between those 2 places. And the day before this happened, we had an offer on our house. And we were so excited, and we just said, oh, this is great. We're going to sell, and we'll be able to move on and start up our retirement, right? Well, let me tell you, those people that put the offer in, they ran like the wind. The almost tragedy that I talked about was if we had decided to shift things from one car to the other, we would have been in the garage, and we would have both probably been crushed to death, or at least hurt so badly that I can't even want to think about it. So that is the almost tragedy, and it was so close. Within 5 minutes, it was so very close. This whole process took hours, and they wouldn't let us back into the house. They had to make sure that it was secure, that there wasn't a gas leak or a possibility of a fire because of electrical or whatever. And so we were literally locked out of our house and terrified. Of course, I called the insurance company, right? Ha ha ha. Guess what? They don't cover collapse. What? They don't cover collapse? You gotta be kidding me. Why do you think I have insurance? Well, actually, they do cover collapse. You know what they don't cover collapse caused by? They don't cover collapse caused by rust. So this garage was built with 3 I-beams and a metal pan and about 2 inches of concrete. Not steel reinforced concrete, just concrete, sitting on a metal pan on 2 or 3 I-beams. They put no ventilation in to this 12-foot pit. And over 50 years, the house was 50 years old. So over that 50-year period, guess what happened? Yeah, that's right. The I-beams rusted. Thus the collapse. Well, my insurance company wouldn't cover collapse due to rust. Ha ha. It took me months and months and months. Meantime, I've got 2 cars that are in the bottom of a 12-foot pit, one on its side and one kind of cockeyed. And my house is structurally compromised, and and I still want to sell. Well, the press kept on coming. The press wanted to cover the story, and I begged them. I said, "This is not a story. Nobody was hurt. Nobody was killed. This is not a story. Please go away." Because when this is all over, I still want to sell this house. I didn't want to be known as the house that collapsed. So that was a major problem. And then the next problem was I couldn't find a contractor that was willing to take on the job. Oh, good grief. It was so complicated, and they couldn't figure out how they were going to get the cars out. They couldn't figure out if they were going to tear the garage down, tear the whole house down, or they just didn't know how to do it. Nobody wanted to get involved because it was so complicated. I finally found a guy. Oh, I got to tell you this story. This one contractor said, "Listen, here's what I'll do. I'm going to break all the windows in the cars, and I am going to open the trunks, and I'm going to fill the entire thing with gravel and concrete. We'll just bury the cars in there." And I said, "No, there's gasoline and oil. You can't do that." And he said, "Oh, yeah, it'll be no problem. Nobody will ever know that it's down there." Right. So only the whole town, right? I was like the biggest attraction around in Clark Summit, Pennsylvania. I could have sold tickets and so people could look at this thing. I had a steady stream for weeks and weeks, people that wanted to see the garage with the 2 cars in the basement. Anyway, long story short, I finally found a contractor that was willing to take on the job. They jacked up that part of the house, the garage, and they rebuilt a new foundation inside the old foundation. And they filled it with crushed stone and then modified. They put in a trough drain, and then they put beautiful, beautiful concrete on it. And I now had the nicest and the very, very best garage in the entire town, if not the entire state, or maybe the entire country or even world. It was so strong, the entire house could have blown away, but that garage was still going to be there because I had to disclose this in the sales agreement when I finally went to sell the house, right? So I had to do the job right. Well, I could go on and on and on, but if you have any other questions, feel free to send me a note and I'll tell you more. The garage is fixed. It took almost a year to get it done, and which of course put my retirement plans on hold a little bit. And of course, winter came, snow, blizzards, cold, 20 below zero type weather. It was just, the nightmare continued. But come spring, I kept the yard nice and spruced up, and the inside was quite lovely, and the garage was outstanding, and I listed the house with a new realtor, and it sold So this story had a happy ending, and we were then able to continue on with our retirement. So y'all wonder why I have a gray beard? Why's my hair gray? Why am I so gray? Well, besides the fact I did have 2 kids, and I've been married for a long, long time, this garage probably is the one thing that turned my hair completely white. Have a good day, gentlemen.
Turn the heater off.
There's an epilogue to the story, you know, which I actually forgot to put in before. Well, the insurance company finally, after 6 or 7 months of letters, calls, crying, me crying. I know Dan Command doesn't cry, but I do sometimes. And they finally came through. And I had sent them a 2-page letter about my life story and how I had been with them for all of those years and how I felt so secure because I knew that I was in good hands. And my last statement on it was, evidently I was not in good hands. And now my hopes and dreams might be crushed because financially because of this burden. Well, I got a phone call 8 months later, and they said, Mr. Hambrick, we're calling to tell you that we are going to cover your loss. So they did the right thing, although it took an awful long time. All right, now I'll say have a good day, gentlemen, and this will be the last. Take care.